So Cuba's had some pretty dramatic steps forward in education, in healthcare, public health, things like that. But how much better would they be if we had never slapped an embargo on them? Check it out. Leave your comments, ding the bell, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. Alicio in Los Angeles. Hey, Alicio, what's on your mind today?
Oh, hello, Tom. I'm really a big admirer of your program, and I really love what you do, and thank you for that. First of all, pardon my English. I'm really bad at it, but
your English is better than my Spanish or German, so you're doing good.
Well, my question, Tom, is that we have always criticized Cuba, and we have always said that it is a really bad system. My question is, how do we know how the Cuban system the communism would have progressed if the United States had put that embargo, I mean, right away after Batista? And
I agree, and you know, Obama tried to fix this, to his credit, you know, and Obama went to Cuba. He was the first American president to go to Cuba since the overthrow of Batista. And, you know, he went to Cuba and he spoke well of Cuba, and he spoke well of their education and healthcare system, and he spoke well of the fact that they have largely dialed back on the political repression, and also they're allowing limited capitalism. You can start your own business, you can start your own store, you can start your own restaurant.
Absolutely.
You just can't serve more than 50 people, and you can't own more than one business. And I think this is all great. I mean, when I was in Cuba, when Louise and I were in Cuba a year ago, March, we were just very, very impressed. And now, of course, Trump has reversed all that stuff, you know, as a sop to his to the Marco Rubio crowd, you know, to the right-wing Cubans in Florida who want their money back that Castro took away, that they had made under Batista. But
absolutely no, and I agree with that. Is the thing is that you know, we criticize the system, but we really don't know how it would have progressed if it wasn't only the embargo, but the propaganda against the system. Yeah. The propaganda has been so, I mean, horrendous that we really don't know.
I agree. And, I agree with you, Alicia.
I know. I read about the system, and I read about socialism, anarchism, and all those ism stuff. But the real truth is that we don't know if it wasn't for the embargo and the propaganda.
I think it's very possible that had there not been an embargo and had there been a lot of American tourists going to Cuba, even during the darkest days, that Cuba would have opened up and would have changed itself, and it would have been a good thing. David in Los Angeles. Hey, David, what's on your mind today?
Yes, Tom, what I originally picked up called you for was this thing with the pandemic. Mm-hmm. But before I touch on that real quickly, Tom.
Sure.
When we're doing history, see, during the time of the Cold War, America was in the height of apartheid or Jim Crow.
You're right.
This was a time to which colonialism, including here in South and throughout the world, South America and throughout the world, colonialism was a state of affairs. Mm-hmm. Cuba was the little playground, a little whore under Batista,
sure, for the mafia with Batista. He was stripping his people. I mean, people were literally dying of hunger in Cuba when Batista was president.
We do history. You know, with all of this Cold War nonsense, this jingoism, elementary Americana pox of madness, right?
Yeah.
It's history, which is nonsense. And further, and then I'll go over to this. The prison population in the United States, with 5% of the population, we got millions of people in prison today.
Right.
We have hundreds of millions of people without medical today.
Yes.
And this takes me to this pandemic that seems to be shooting throughout the world.
Okay.
With no so-called socialist medicine here in the United States, I fear for our survival if something like that occurred. Because this nonsense that we have in the way of a patchwork of pay for for service medical, right? With all of the people already dying, with no pandemic or no epidemic, right?
Yep.
I pray, and I'm a praying man, that this thing that's happening in China and in Italy, where they have some degree of socialized medicine, we will be up we will be up the creek without a pedal.
Yeah, I get it, and I know that you were naming the TV show and not saying something obscene, so we'll just.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
you
okay.
got it, brother. But that's it.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you, and I think that. And David, thank you for the call. And I'm going to let you go here because you did say something you shouldn't say, arguably. Although I think Sean dumped it. But in any case, the simple reality is that the thing that provides resilience to a nation is a national health care system, resilience in the face of a possible epidemic or pandemic. And not only, I mean, and President Obama got us a whole lot closer to that with the Affordable Care Act. And now you've got 20 some odd Republican-controlled states and the Trump administration suing at the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has said we're going to move this back until after the election so nobody knows about it, but suing to allow health insurance companies to start denying coverage to people because of pre-existing conditions and because they've cost more than $1 million in their lifetime. This is what Trump wants to bring back to America.